everybody.
Hello, hello.
So we're here to have a little chat and to share a transmission on, it's a bit of a broad topic, but at the same time it's so present, and I know for me in my life, this idea of returning to the abundance of love in life and to move ourselves out of those places of, resistance and suffering and pain, and these places where we feel like, we have to go through and we have to experience, or, and just like really coming home to this power within us that we have to make a decision that makes us feel good, that makes us feel, joyful, that allows us this opportunity to drop into more of our life force energy, to utilize it.
So you might have heard my dog Jedi in the background. I feel like energetically, a lot of beautiful things are happening around us all the time. And sometimes we get frustrated when we don't notice them all. So I definitely see a lot of that energy connecting with how we connect with ourselves and the light and dark aspects of self. So Aria, I have a question that I'm gonna ask you, and I'm curious what you think. There's no right or wrong answer, I suppose. It's just a perspective of how do you see the light and dark sides of yourself and through your life, and how does that impact the relationship you have with yourself?
That's a cool question. I invite everyone to also ask themselves the same question. I know for me, how I view and see the light and dark parts of myself is just with so much love. I think that a big part of my journey, starting out with yoga and coming from a place where, I desired self-love, but I didn't know how to give it. I didn't know how to drop into that place. I didn't know how to feel it. I didn't know how to truly embody it within myself. My thoughts were the opposite of that. And even in the moments where I thought I was embodying a sense of self-love, I was just pushing myself. I wasn't necessarily fully trusting and loving abundantly on myself. I wasn't necessarily listening deeply to myself. So I think that now I view these parts as, wisdom keepers. They each hold a frequency of energy that I am here to connect with and reclaim and embody or release. And you could see this also as like the shadow aspects of ourselves and the more conscious, the shadow is usually the subconscious, the unconscious things. And when we bring awareness to them, obviously we're bringing them into the conscious, we're bringing them into the light. So the light aspects are more of like our conscious way of being, our conscious way of sharing our identity and our authenticity. So I really see them with a lot of curiosity. And I think that this is a huge thing that I know Esther and I really encourage everyone to tune into, because it's opened our minds for sure. I know it's expanded my ability to see myself with love. It's expanded my ability to actually see myself with truth, and being able to navigate and meet these parts of myself and integrate or release or embody has been one of the most powerful ways to reclaim who I am, to reclaim my life as mine, to really own my own life and this ability to be, and not just an identity, not just being Aria, not just showing up in certain ways, having, specific branding and all these colors. Like, I feel like a lot of people see me in a very specific way, like this Taurus energy, or even like this more Scorpio energy. And I think that when we can allow ourselves to release that box and to stop over analyzing and just become a bit more curious and start listening to ourselves, that massive, beautiful change begins to happen in a way that feels aligned, in a way that offers a deepening into our connection to ourself. And this is something, as I speak about this, this is something that I feel and I have felt and I continue to experience. It's something that I take with me throughout my entire life, and I know that I will for the rest of my life, is this ability to stay curious, open, and kind to myself, to engage with these light and dark aspects with love. But yeah, thank you for asking that question, Esther. I'm so curious. Like, how is your relationship to these parts of you? How do you navigate them?
Oh, thank you, Aria. And that was, I just want to note and reflect back how you share so much love in order to see these lights and dark aspects of self and to love them. Honestly, sometimes when you look at the extreme parts of your being, it's hard to really, but together, that love, you see how they love you as well, you know?
Yeah,
and
in their own way.
At the end of the yeah, exactly that. So, whoa. Yeah, I want to note that I see religion playing a role in how I see the light and dark aspect of myself. So I see the classic angel and the classic fallen angel or the devil. And you know, how am I going to say to either one that I'm not afraid when I see them? Because honestly, I am, and other people are too. Like, although you see an angel that says, be not afraid, it's the same thing that God has told man many times, and Jesus has told man many times, especially his disciples when he said he was gonna die. And it's so interesting to see the light and dark sides of other people, realizing that you can only see as far as you go with yourself. And in doing that work, it's kind of like you gain a sense of forgiveness. You gain a sense of forgiveness for the shit that you do that you don't mean to do, but it's doo-doo, so that's what happens. It's what it's called, right? So I think it's a hard lesson to learn from your dark self, the demon within you that is going to fiend for the things that are bad for you, because it in nature is bad. And then you have the angel, which in nature is good, but what path is straight and narrow and small, and what path is wide? You know, the way that the angel says, okay, this is how we do it, and it's marked with the will of God, which is divine, and we know it inherently, because it is what we love, because God is love. And what the angel says to do, and where we find ourselves sometimes in physical reality, because as we know, at this time, the 3D connected with the 2 and 1D are connected to me, myself, I am the devil, you know, and the satanic areas of how the world is being controlled. And then you have the angel, which is, you know, that 4-5, that dimension of connecting with one knowing and one love. I guess one love, it's such a cliche way to say it, but that's definitely how I see that light aspect. And it's pretty cringy, honestly. The light aspect is pretty cringy. When you look at it fully, it's like, ouch. Did I really go and do that? Was I really that naive? I didn't realize how the world worked? But at the same time, if we're playing a game, then the light and dark sides of ourselves are helping us through learning our lessons on Earth, because they come together in 3D on Earth, and that is where we are as humans. So I am so thankful for the sun, the moon, the stars, the sky, the water, the earth, the ground, all of the fowls of the air, all the beasts of the field, all of the flowers and grasses and trees of the earth, because they have served us, and I pray that we can serve them as well, you know, and share back the goodness that's in that light. Okay, the last note on the dark, because I feel like this is tied with a lot of the way things work. The love of money is the root of all evil. And when I think of that, I think of a tree. And when I think of a tree, I think of God made man, and man made many inventions. The first invention we made was clothing to cover ourselves with fig leaves when we ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil and knew that we did something bad. So I think it's interesting to see how that tree of knowledge is rooted. If evil is the love of money, how do we value ourselves? What is money? And it's not about demonizing money or you know, loving it. It is about finding a balance, because it is just a resource. In a way, man has given themselves to restrict their use of earthly materials.
That's a really interesting point, to recognize the energetics of love, you know, because almost in that instance, it's saying that that love for money, or, you know, whatever it may be, puts it on a pedestal. So, and this is where it can be interesting for us to actually tune into what is the love that we're tuning into. Is it a type of love that puts it on a pedestal? Is it a type of love that is attached, you know? And to be able to be open in that curiosity says that you don't need to be attached. I agree that sense of balance is really important. And I think we find that within ourselves when we tune into what this aligned state of being gets to be, what it is that we're creating, what it is that we're moving toward, who it is that we are, you know, without needing to recreate ourselves in a sense. We really get to look at this core of what that love or that heart or that being is, and to allow ourselves to claim what is true for us as well. Thank you for asking that question. We're super curious, like, for anyone else, like, how are you navigating yourself at this time? How are you experiencing yourself? Are you allowing yourself to experience yourself? Are you allowing yourself to experience life at this time? Are you in this place of, you know, needing to label things as good and bad within yourself? You know, like, how can you almost transcend that and come to this balanced, more neutral state, this curious state that is still kind, that is still loved? Yeah. How are we doing that? How is everyone doing?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good question.
Remembering that what we continue to carry, we allow those after us to carry on, whether you have kids or not, you know? Our lineage and the work that we do here on a subconscious and spiritual level expands out throughout the collective, throughout our communities, throughout our families, through generations. So our ability to recognize, you know, how the water works, how, you know, the earth works, how the elements flow, how the animals interact, and it offers us a space of reflection. And I always say this, that like this process that we're here to do, if you're aligned with this space, is really about remembrance. It's remembering who we are. It's remembering the love inside of us. It's remembering that we are of divinity. A message that actually came through that I want to share here as well, it's along these same lines, is how sweet our breath is, and how our breath is a part of the cycle of the earth. You know, it is our offering. It is what we take. It is this give and receive that we're continuing to experience, whether we're conscious or not. It's something that continues to happen, like the beating of our heart. So when we can allow ourselves to recognize that our breath is not only ours, you know, that it is for all that is, that it is part of the natural cycles of this planet that lives in a universe that is polar, right? Where we are experiencing the light and the dark, we're experiencing the yin and the yang. It's a part of this experience, right? So our ability to recognize and reclaim our breath, our sound, our expression, our, you know, beautiful ways in which we process, beautiful ways in which we move through life and remind ourselves of the beauty that is here, the love that is here, the truth that is here. It's reclaiming our power. When we reclaim the power of our breath, the power of our body, the wisdom in our body, the wisdom of our intuition, you know? And this builds trust when we can let ourselves bring the imagination into it, right? To really see that with every breath, even within many different cultures, using your breath is like the prayer. It is the offering. You're giving your energy. So these reflections, and I'm so glad that you mentioned that, Esther, are just so beautiful. And we can see the yin and the yang. We can see the light and dark in every single thing. Every single thing, down to the tiniest little bit. So if we can see that in other things, in animals, in the elements, in the earth, and in others in a more curious and kind way, we can start to see that as well within ourselves and vice versa. Yeah, it gets to be fun. It gets to be simple. It gets to be, we talk and we bring through many different perspectives and ways of being, but at the end of the day, like, this is about empowering yourself to reclaim what is true for you, right? And to empower you to remember that you are inherently pure in your heart, and you're here to reclaim your power in this sense of being, your essence, your soul.
So back on reclaiming that essence and that soul, I feel excited now, like, in terms of calling in that soul, that soul that God gave us, and understanding that divine light of balancing. We're going to ground in the intention to just connect with the root of our soul, that root of goodness, that overflowing water of life that we are receiving by being here now. Thank you, God. You are seeing the darkest shadows become light.
Viewing with the eyes of curiosity, of love.
You have awakened Mother Earth. She wants to impart of you some knowledge so you can take care of you child of God. You can seek and see that there is a structure to this three-dimensional reality. Me and God have made it so that you, my children, can see through the shadows to the light. And you may learn a valuable lesson. Valuing and honoring others as those who we wish to be treated upon equal grounds.
May you be held here in the arms of Source, God, Oneness, our Mother, Mother Earth. Kiama'o sahi'i sakia la sita como shahia latia, softening your heart. Sometimes it isn't an opening, it's a softening, it's a slowing down that reminds you, that creates space for the shadows to come to light. To reveal their gifts.
The two are connected. Yin yang balance. When you are sharing your gift, finding value in what is worth, you uncover this balance of what it is you value in life and what it is others you see value in you. You are enough. Breathe into love.
And as you breathe, softening your jaw, invite yourself to return to your body, your center. Perhaps even offering yourself an inner smile or a smile on your lips, felt in your cheeks and your eyes. Kiana pu sarahi'i 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 takiana tutu shukupu masata tiala kanaya arakiki la setokumu sa ashira kiata tiara kumu arahi'i sarahia la tiara siatakua. We often use the words children to remind you of the beauty of openness and play. Kia la siatakumu sarahia la tia, the driving force of excitement and joy. Kala siatakia. And now from the state of who you are, kia po usoku 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 amashira kia takia tatia latua, you have gained this experience and power kia la siatakopoa shirahia takia ratua to choose mahia takian.
So, taking a moment to acknowledge as you see the parent and the child that you are in your life, living it, the parent that we can see in the earth, in the source, God, universe, the unseen, and the seen, and how these things both can master us and be, we can be the master. But at the end of the day, breathing in, we all know that our time on earth is temporary and it is divinely aligned. So bringing so much love into feeling the creation and having that grace with our mother and father figures in our lives, the sense of those children that we feel parent and are parent of, and a source of authority. There's something to be said about the beauty of having connections with other people and learning from them, being a human being on earth, and where we find anger, where we feel that fight, and where we feel like we need to leave that flight. At this point, I would invite anybody who has, a journal, and if they want to write down some notes on their reflections, please do so. Yeah, just taking a moment, Aria, to share some words of the soul. And I'm just gonna share one sentence that my soul feels now in terms of like the resonance, if that makes sense, as we've gone through. And I think the light and dark are a good way to create a balanced definition for the soul. So I'm going to try to use positive and negative words. I don't even know how that's going to work, but I'd say my soul is a source to let's say, manipulate the network of God's creation in a good way. I think that's a fair negative and positive way to look at the soul. Um, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think that works. I think that works for sure. I think that I would share that. Honestly, what's coming through for me to share is just in light language. So, aquí a la sata kanoa asahia shekupu sa apuarakian. Arehia la oasaka sharakumusa piatakian. Tasia la to kupua asharakia tatia sharakian akua. So, if that was felt for you, if you understood that, wonderful. Within your own heart, your own subconscious. Thank you so much, Esther, for this conversation. Thank you, Source. Thank you, Mother Earth. Thank you, all that is, all of the elements, the lands in which we all reside, every single being and soul here receiving this and here, journaling and reflecting with us and just having a conversation. If you really enjoyed this style of connection and conversation and transmission of our soul language, then we do have a free monthly soul resident support group that you can join. Everything
And
is
drum roll. Yes.
yes.
It is free for the year of 2025. So it's pretty cool. Definitely the third Sunday of the month. Yes, yeah. Feel free to also, I love to read lay language. Sometimes people commented. Sometimes I'm like, you're just being mashed to the keyboards, but it still rhymes. It still rhymes. Not how I use autocorrect, but it works. No, but yeah, for sure. Oh, so much love. And thank you, thank you, thank you for being here, for guiding us, for giving us this life. And I will see and talk to you guys in the next conversation.
Goodbye, everybody.